Welcome to We Wine Whenever. Grab your glass and join 3 Jersey Shore housewives, Wendy, Kelly, and Lori, as they dive into everything from Bravo drama to life's everyday chaos. It's unfiltered, it's hilarious, and it's the real talk you've been waiting for, from relationship to pop culture. We drink wine whenever, and we hope you do too. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Cheers!
Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Lori.
Tonight we're talking about The Valley Season 3, Reunion Part 1.
Of
Before
3.
we do
Oh
that,
my God. I can't
of
believe
3.
it's 3 parts.
I got to be honest with you, though. Well, before that, please go to our YouTube and subscribe, and Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, follow, and 5-star reviews if you would. Thank you. At first, I was like, why do we need 3 parts? I did think this was a good episode. I didn't expect to get as much Michelle and Lacey interaction.
Yeah.
That was like almost the whole first episode.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are a lot of people on that cast.
Yes.
So I guess that's why it's 3, you know.
Yeah. I just don't want to talk about Danny and Nia the whole time.
Right. And it was
just
good.
Don't want to do that.
It was good that this time it wasn't like all that.
Right. We
like
didn't see any of that.
Right. It wasn't like, oh, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was
We
nice
haven't
to
even
see
touched
that.
on it yet.
Right. Not be a big focus, especially for the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. So it comes on and we see like a lot of what's coming up on the reunion. Like there was a lot of upcoming scenes. So it does seem like it's going to be pretty busy. And they all come out and they sit down, and Jasmine whispers to Schwartz, Jesse looks pissed. He's on the end of the couch.
Caught that, yeah.
People get very jacked up about their placement on the couches, but I will say, I think that maybe he was put on the end. I mean, I don't think it really matters, but
Somebody's got to go there. I mean,
somebody has to go there.
It's a couch. It's like there's only so many seats. Somebody has to go there.
And think about it. On that side, it was Kristen and Luke, Nia and Danny, Zach, and then Jesse, and then Lacey. Like they were bringing Lacey out, so I don't know why she just wasn't out from the beginning, but it totally made sense.
Right. Especially if she was going to come out afterwards. It made sense for him to be on the end. And what we're going to do? Put him in like the middle, and then she's got to walk in front of people to sit down?
Yes. Somebody's got to scooch over.
Yeah. That makes no sense.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe he wasn't even pissed. Andy asks Nia how long it took her to get there from Bookos Mountain, and she says about an hour. Andy brings up the fact that it's Brittany's first reunion without Jax. That's pretty monumental for her, and she did look very relieved, but probably in pain because the dress was so damn tight.
Marona mia.
I don't know what these women are doing to themselves.
I don't know. And then the thing is the dress did not look good on her standing up in the photos, and it certainly did not look good on her sitting down. I mean, girls, look, when you're trying on these outfits, you have to sit down in them and think about how it's going to look and feel when you're sitting down. And, you know, like we talked about, she's looking great. Like she could have worn a great outfit and looked wonderful.
This has nothing to do with her weight or anything like that. Because
No. It just has to do with that dress is not for her.
There's a picture of Kyle Richards online right now. I think from something that they did the other night for the 20th anniversary of Housewives. She's wearing a dress and she's in optimum shape, Kyle.
Yes.
It looks like her boobs are being pressed into her body with the top of this dress. I'm like, that
sometimes things
so
just
uncomfortable.
Are just ill-fitting, and it has nothing to do with your body. They're just ill-fitting. They're just not meant. They're not meant for you.
And they look uncomfortable.
Right.
Like, why do you want? I won't even wear jeans that are too tight anymore, because if I eat something, I'm going to feel like a 10-pound sausage in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yes.
Then
So
Andy says that
not a good look.
No, it wasn't a good look. Andy says a certain doctor is making house calls, and Michelle says, well, she says to Andy, well, you were there, and we've been spending time together. So I don't know what she meant by you were there to Andy, but
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe she met him at an event that Andy was at. He asks Luke about the season, and Luke says he has not watched any episode from this season.
I think they should have to watch it. I think it should be in their contract. You should have to watch yourself back and have some kind of opinion about it, and have some kind of thought process about your like how you were. Like, I think that should be a huge part of reality TV, is that you should have to watch how you behaved and you should have to comment or whatever. Like,
right.
I don't understand.
Right. He says that it was one of the toughest years and he didn't want to relive it, which I understand, but I mean,
I really think it should be part of your job. This is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I think it should be part of your job.
I totally agree. Andy congratulates Jasmine on her wedding. It was only a week prior. And then he asks Zach if he got his monster refrigerator back. He says no. He asks Kristen if she's on the Adderall
And amphetamine, like some kind of weird
something diet.
Some kind
And
of
she's
weird
like, nope,
diet.
I'm on a GLP-1. I mean, she's doing commercials for it, so there's no reason for her to
not say it. Yeah.
Right. He says to Lala, welcome back to the reunion stage. First one on the Valley. She says, yeah, I have not one complaint, but let's see how the day goes. Schwartzy says he had one of his best years of his life with these guys. What a nice thing for Tom Schwartz to have a carefree season after the way Vanderpump Rules went out.
Yeah. So I figured he was kind of like just happy to like not be in the hot seat kind of a thing, like just watching the world burn around him kind of thing.
Yeah, because on Vanderpump Rules, he had a very tumultuous marriage with Katie, and they weren't like, it was never like screaming or yelling or anything like that. They just had a lot of, there was just a lot going on in their marriage. But personally, I feel like it had a lot to do with Tom Sandoval because he was good friends with Tom Sandoval. I think Tom Sandoval was a big problem in their marriage. And then with the whole Ariana and Tom Sandoval thing, everybody assumed that Schwartz knew, which of course he did. So He got a lot of flack for that at the reunion. But carefree season for Schwartzy. Andy asks Danny how he's feeling, and he's like, oh, I feel great. It's a great day to have a great day. And Andy's like, how are you really feeling? And he said he was scared. And he told Andy watching the season back, he felt embarrassed and shameful, and it was hard to watch.
And I'm wondering if it's going to change his behavior at all moving forward. One should certainly hope that he will make some changes.
I totally agree with you.
If you watch yourself and you don't have that opinion about yourself, then there's really a problem. I mean, I can see people being in self-denial about certain behaviors not being filmed. But if you are being filmed and then you watch it back and there are behaviors and you still think that there aren't, you know what I mean, things that you need to address, then that's really, really a problem. At least I feel to me. I think that's a big problem if you are filmed and cannot recognize things that you need to change.
Well, yeah. And the thing is that he's saying that, but then I think coming up, he says he hasn't drank like that since or something. And then they bring up Jasmine's wedding.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I agree with you. I like Danny and Nia. I want to see them on the show, but I would hope that he would recognize that he's just not a good drinker.
And knock it off.
Let's not drink.
Yeah.
If you can't control it and say, I've had 2 drinks and I'm not going to have any more drinks.
Right.
You should not drink.
Then you should not drink. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then Andy says a dynamic duo joined the season. And of course, we're all thinking he's talking about Tom Schwartz and Lala, but he's really talking about baby Kaya and baby Adelaide. And he says to Kristen, when the season started, Kaya was only a few months old. How are you feeling now that she's 1? And Kristen says her mental health is in a much better place. She's still not the social butterfly she once was. But at the 10-month mark, she started feeling more like herself. Listen, we all knew. Like, of course, postpartum depression thrown in there makes things worse.
Right.
But you go from only taking care of yourself, only worrying about yourself and maybe your spouse, like your whereabouts, what you're going to eat, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you're put in charge of another human being who can't do anything for themselves. You have to do everything for this little nugget.
Right. And cannot communicate to you.
That's right.
Besides crying. It's bizarre.
It's crazy. It's a crazy life change to go through.
Right.
Yeah. Andy asks the Bookos if they're done with babies. And, Danny, of course, makes the face like, well, but they both say yes. And, we saw him get a vasectomy on the show. And Andy asks if it took. And they're like, yeah, we haven't really confirmed that. So I don't know how you confirm it.
I think you have to submit a sperm sample, and then they let you know if there's no viable sperm, then it's successful.
Okay. Well, get on that,
Yeah.
Bookos. I would
Yeah.
get on that stat.
Yeah, lickety split.
He asks Lala about Sosa, and he brings up how much she looks like Luke. And Luke was a sperm donor at one point. But
Yeah, it's
Lala
funny.
said if the timeline didn't add up, if the timeline added up, she would do a paternity test, but it didn't add up. I mean, that baby really does look like him.
It does. Really
It's
does.
kind of crazy. They might want to just do a paternity test for
Just for
shits and giggles.
Right. Maybe it's a cousin.
Luke, do you have any family members that also
Yeah, that
submit some sperm?
Right.
Brittany and Jax have reached a custody agreement. She says she is not allowed to talk about it. So Andy asks her, and she's like, well, I'm not allowed to talk about it, but my friends know, and they are. I thought that was hysterical. And Janet says she has primary custody. Andy asks her if Jax has to submit drug tests in order to see Cruz, and she says it's not obligated, but she can ask for one at any time.
Anytime, right.
So Brittany did a People interview, which at first I was like, why is she getting a People interview because Jax is dating her publicist? But you know what? I have to stop being like that because she is in the public eye. And even though I'm not a big fan, people are big fans of hers. And she has obviously gone through hell with this guy. So I didn't watch, I think you can only watch it on the People app or the website. I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but I did see a clip where she was basically like, or maybe this was on Watch What Happens Live. Either way, at some point she says, after everything this publicist knew he did to me, like this publicist knew everything Jax did to her, physically, emotionally, verbally. Yeah. And this woman is still choosing to be with him. That is wild.
Well, it's just one of those things. There are some women who really they look at it as a challenge. They think that they are going to be the one to change the man.
Yeah. You're right.
For me, it's going to be different. He did that with her, but he's not going to do that with me. I'm going to be the one that changes his whole dynamic, his whole personality, his whole, that's going to be me.
Right.
And it's just this weird shit that some people have.
Yeah. I mean, I had that weird shit about certain people. I thought I was going to change people.
Yeah.
You don't.
And you don't. You
got to find somebody that you don't need to change. That's for sure.
And it doesn't mean that people can't grow and evolve and that people can't change in certain ways, but
if Jax is going to change, Jax isn't going to change for the publicist.
No.
Jax has to get to a place where he acknowledges the wrong he's done and changes
for himself.
For himself.
For himself, right. That's the thing.
I don't think that's happened yet. I pray for Cruz that it does happen, but we shall see. I think he's been a hardcore narcissist for a long time, Jax, and I think that's going to be a really hard shell to crack.
And narcissists are highly skilled, manipulative people.
Of course.
I mean, they will spin some shit that you could have a video of them doing something, and they'll spin it to something that all of a sudden you're going to be like, well,
yeah, you start thinking you're the problem.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or you're crazy, or you know what I mean? They're highly skilled people.
Absolutely. So Brittany does say that the divorce is not settled yet. The custody settled, the divorce isn't, and she's still paying off the loan for his taxes. So from what I understand, this is what I thought. I thought they took out a home equity loan to pay off his $1.2 million debt or something. So yes, she's still paying off his debt because now it's part of her mortgage. I think maybe they didn't have a mortgage on the house and then they took one to pay off the debt. So somehow his debt is tangled up in her mortgage. So if she's still in the house, yes, she's paying for his debt. So then Jesse says that Jax came at him aggressively after BravoCon because Jesse and Lacey did an interview for an addiction charity. And Jax reacted without watching the interview. And Brittany says, yeah, welcome to my world. So I don't know what interview they're talking about or the context behind it, but
right.
Just sounds like he overreacted.
Imagine that.
And yeah. And then Andy asks Danny if he's talked to Jax. And he says he actually, Jax texted Danny in the last couple of months out of the blue. And Brittany's like, wait a minute. That's interesting because in our parenting app, Jax said basically he just wants to get back on the show to take down Danny. And that was within the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny was like, well, his text was like, hey, I just want to apologize again. So, I mean, again, we're talking about Jax. So
Excuse me.
two things can be true.
Yes.
You know what's interesting? Brittany says that he tries to fight with her in the parenting app. And she's like, basically, he's just fighting with himself because she's smart enough now to not engage. But from what I understand, the parenting apps are a tool to be used in court. Like it's actually evidence in court where like one situation I know of personally was the two people divorcing, the parents divorcing. I thought the judge can definitely see what's going on in the app, but the therapists were in the app too. It wasn't just the husband and wife divorcing, talking about the kids. Like other people are in the app. So could you imagine the text messages Jack's putting in there? And then, and then these third parties are seeing it.
Right.
That was my understanding. But if any listeners out there, if that's not correct, please let us know. Yeah, because that was my understanding. It was at least my good girlfriend and her soon-to-be ex-husband or ex-husband now, and counselors, like therapists, were on the app as well.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And here he is.
In New Jersey.
Here
maybe
he is probably just like rage texting like he's texting her personally.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, does Jax know somebody else is in the group chat, Lori?
Yep.
That's a great story. We'll have to tell that sometime.
We don't need it.
So the whole cast basically says that Jax is just saying disparaging things about all of them on Reddit. And like Schwartz is like, he's even on there saying shit about Kiana, who he probably has never met. And of course, Jax is denying it, but they all know it's him. And one of the things he said was that Brittany had all these surgeries and still looks the same. Like, he just must have been such a douchebag to live with. Imagine how verbally and probably physically abusive he was.
No. Yeah.
So Andy says, obviously, him not being on the show is giving him time to work on his mental health, but it doesn't sound like he is. And it does not sound like he is. And then we get to Michelle. Andy says last season, Michelle's relationship with Aaron was all the buzz, but then he ended it in between seasons. And Andy's like, did he really end it because you weren't athletic enough? And she's like, well, he basically said, you look amazing, but 10 years from now, you might not.
I'm telling you, these people.
Meanwhile, that motherfucker's eyes are bugging out of his face, and his dog and his business are called Kilo. So do what you will with that.
Right. Absolutely.
Unbelievable. So Andy asked Jesse what his reaction to the breakup was. He says it was upsetting because of Isabella's reaction. And then Jesse starts to cry, but
you know what? I wrote down, he is a drama queen.
Yeah.
I don't even watch this show, and I could tell you right now, I was like, oh boy,
It was very Tamra, no tear crying.
It was giving
Tamra.
Bad. It was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad. He needs to work on that a little more. Because those two were something else.
Well, something must have happened because we saw during the season, they had some very nice moments where they were getting along because they have been contentious up until this season, but they had some really nice moments this season where it was like, you know, they were getting divorced, but they were kind of mourning their relationship and in a good place moving on. Something had to happen before this.
Because they are not right now. And if Michelle could send fire through her eyeballs.
Yes.
That chick and him would have been receiving it because she was given the stink eye.
Yes.
Several times. I was like.
So something definitely happened because Jasmine got married. Jasmine's from New Jersey. And so is her wife, Melissa. They got married in New Jersey a week prior to the reunion. Jesse was there. Michelle was not. Meanwhile, Michelle was in New York doing real estate with Ryan Serhant, who's another Bravo guy. If you're in New York for the weekend working on a real estate deal and your friend's getting married in North Jersey,
Yeah,
You wouldn't go to the wedding?
Hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah.
Hop, skip, and a jump. So I think something happened between Michelle and Jesse, and that's why she didn't. She probably came with the intention of going to the wedding and then was like, yeah,
I'm not doing it. Right.
Andy says it was, so Michelle does say that the breakup at the end of the day was the best thing to happen for her and Isabella. I'm sure, because I think the guy's got a cocaine problem. You know, I'm just saying.
Right.
Andy says it was very cute to watch Schwartzy and Michelle dance around each other all season. And Michelle says that they are playful, but they don't see each other that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andy, of course, brings up the picture of Michelle and Dr. Dre holding hands. And she says, I don't want to get into it, whether or not we're officially dating. And then Jesse kind of whispers something. And she was like, what's that? And he's like, no, no, no. And she's like, no, say it to my face. And he said, it sounds like a DNA. And she said, I don't have a DNA. NDA, sorry.
DNA. Bloody.
NDA, sorry. I drank some wine. And she says, I'm having fun and I'm living my life. So then Jesse brings up, there have been 3 people in 2 years that we know of that Michelle has dated. 2 of them met my daughter and 1 threw my daughter out of his house. And Michelle says that Dr. Dre has not met her daughter. And Jesse says he wouldn't. Andy's like, to Jesse, have you asked Isabella? And he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to ask my daughter.
Which I think is good. Definitely think that was the right answer. But, you know, just
do you believe him, though?
I don't know.
I think it's the right answer. I also think he's asked her, though.
Probably. He probably can't help himself. But, I mean, I certainly could see where Michelle was at work, her daughter was at work, that comedian that she went on a couple dates for,
Absolutely.
maybe he came to look at the house.
Yes.
Or was hanging out for a little bit and she introduced, doesn't mean she said, you know, this is the guy I'm stopping. It just because you introduce somebody to somebody else doesn't mean that you're telling them. You know, it doesn't mean that the child knew that her mother was in any kind of a relationship or even had gone out even on one date. She could have just been like, oh, and this is blah, 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 blah. And that's it. Like, don't get
totally agree.
You know, but
getting all jacked up about it.
Yeah. But I definitely think that he does have an element of control where Michelle is concerned and he doesn't like not having that.
And I totally agree with you there.
And it's so weird. I think it's so weird because I think that his relationship with, what's the other girl's name?
Lacey.
I think that he kind of has like a weird kink with her. Like he likes her to like humiliate him and kind of be in charge, like be bossy bet. Like I find it very weird.
She's extremely wealthy. Extremely. Her divorce set her up. She will never have to worry about money. So I think that you're right. I think he kind of likes it in a sense where he probably figures, I mean, I'm sure he loves Lacey. I'm not saying he's just with her for the money because I do think they have great banter and I do think that they have great chemistry, but he's never going to be able to control her. She's never going to like be submissive. And I do think he likes that. And he probably figures, you know, I'm going to let her do and say whatever she wants.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I'm interested in what your thoughts are on this. And the fact that I hate Janet, excuse me, I strongly dislike Janet, doesn't really help. But Andy brings up Janet's crush on Michelle. And Michelle says that, you know, Janet would tell her that she had a crush on her. But when she watched the season back, she was like, oh, wow, like you really do. And then he asks Jason, you know,
oh, would she have a problem?
Would he have a problem? And he's like, of course. Yeah. Now that I know she's in love with her. Let me ask you something. Is this not a double standard? Like, could you just imagine if this were,
the other way around?
Were Janet saying this about a guy? Would we be laughing it off so much? Like, is it just because it's a woman? It's okay for Janet to go on and fawn all over another person while she's married to Jason?
I don't think when you're married to somebody, you should be fawning over anybody at all.
That's what I'm saying.
And certainly, I mean, in your own mind, drunk with your girlfriends, go on a little something, slip, whatever. Not on TV.
National television.
No.
I really
and I want to bring this up because I heard Jesse, right, go on and on about how the girlfriend has made him this totally different person. You know what? Listen, nobody should make you become somebody else. I just thought that's was all
bullshit.
I thought that was really weird. And like, I was just like, dude, like, what are you even saying? And it's not the first time I've heard him say it. And I've only watched maybe like 3 episodes. So I was like, no, like nobody makes you be somebody totally different. And if they do, there's something wrong there. And it's certainly not something you should be like touting about.
Right. It's not a flex.
It just, yeah, it was
I think
weird.
it's insulting for
odd.
him to keep saying things like basically he's saying she makes him want to be a better person, right? But you're saying that in front of the mother of your daughter. It's a very unique situation with Michelle and Jesse on this show. I don't think we've ever really seen a divorced couple come on a reality show married, divorce, and stay on it divorce. I really have to think about that. And again, I'm sure a viewer will call me out if I'm wrong. But it's a very unique situation we have with them. I'm not the hugest Michelle fan. And quite honestly, I don't think she brings anything to this show. Jesse is much more dynamic, has much more personality, whether you like him or not.
Right.
But she's on the show. So I do feel like he shouldn't say those things because it's disrespectful to the mother of his daughter.
Yeah, I just thought it was just a really weird flex. And I was just like, you know what? I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's in my eyes, it's failing horribly.
Yeah, I totally agree. But this thing with Janet, like, of course I have my celebrity crushes. My 2 hall passes are Mark Wahlberg and LL Cool J. You can even throw Brody Jenner in there. Like, I have hall passes, celebrity hall passes. My husband's well aware. But even if, I find women attractive, of course. I find men attractive, of course. But I'm not like fawning all over them and saying on national television that, if I were going to go this way, this would be the person. When they're in my friend group,
when you work
weird.
And you work with them like that.
Yeah. And if it were a man, she wouldn't do this. So that to me is a double standard. Just because it's a female, it's okay for you to do this. Basically, like, throw it in front of your husband's face, how attracted you are to somebody else.
Right.
Male or female.
Right.
You're just going on and on about how you're so attracted to somebody else. That's disrespectful to your husband, who has been nothing but ride or die for you, where I would have hit the road a long time ago because you seem like a crazy person. All right. I'm interested to see what the listeners think.
Yes.
Brittany hasn't spoken to Brandon since the last episode he was on. I think that's what she said. And everybody basically says they think she moved on too fast. She moved too fast with him, and they didn't like him. But I think it was like Schwartz. He was kind of like, engaging and stuff. But once you didn't like him, you didn't like him. And Zach says that Brittany was in such a fragile state because of how Jax would beat her down, and her judgment was off, and she was susceptible to being love bombed. That checks out.
You had a bad picker to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
That's not going to just automatically go away. So it's of no surprise at all that she picked a bum.
Listen, I have said that, and I feel bad for Brittany, and I want nothing but the best for Brittany and Cruz. I think she's an incredible mom. But I have said this for a while. She knew exactly who Jax was when she started dating him. One time she said she didn't watch the show. She's full of shit. She knew who Jax was. You saw him. You saw how he behaved. You dated him. You got engaged. Got a kid with him. He cheated on you, and you stayed with him. Like, you knew who this fucking guy was. He never pretended to be anybody other than who he really was.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I don't feel bad for her and I want to see her be super successful after this, but she does say she's seeing a narcissistic abuse coach, and I think that that's really good.
I thought that was awesome. I was like, that's a perfect thing for you, girl.
Yeah. And she says she needs to set bigger boundaries. Andy asks her how much money she gave Brandon, and she was embarrassed to say, and
she should be embarrassed to say.
I mean, she says basically it's somewhere in between 5,000 and 10,000, but probably closer to the 10,000 mark. I mean, this fucking guy. Please. This guy. Andy says she looks great and asks her how she feels after her makeover. And she said she feels great. And you could just see it in her face because Jax really did a number on her, obviously. And he asks who was the most supportive after her surgery. I feel like she said Kristen too. I feel like she said Kristen and Zach was like, you better say my name. And then she did. I did think it was very interesting that she didn't say Janet, though, her BFF. who's up her ass, but whatever. And then, of course, we get into how Nia didn't text message her after her surgery and only showed support on social media and on camera. And, she said I know people think that, because this was elective surgery, which I said it, like this was elective surgery. I understand you still want support from your friends, but I don't know. To me, it's like you chose to do this. So
Right.
But anyway, she says it was really important because of how she was treated, and Nia's support was questioned. She said, I understand why it looked the way the rest of them said it did, like that I wasn't being supportive, but I know my heart and I always want to be there for my friends. And I was postpartum and I had a lot going on. And as she's saying this,
3 kids and another one, and forget it.
Yeah, but as she's saying this, Jasmine's rolling her eyes.
I saw that, yes.
Lala's got the stank face on. I mean, and Brittany's like, listen, I know you had a lot going on, but you could have sent me a text. And she's not wrong. Brittany's not wrong.
She's not wrong. Absolutely.
So then Lacey joins them, and Jesse gets up and he walks over and he helps her down the stairs.
Yes. Let the fawning begin.
Exactly. Andy
now, I don't know if you notice this, but during their conversation, Andy talking to them too, and back and forth. So they're holding hands, and then they show them and they're not holding hands. And then you see her reach onto his lap, take his hand and move it back onto her knee. Now,
I did see
there is a difference between that and putting her hand on his hand, holding his hand, and then moving it back over to her knee. There's 2 totally different things.
Yeah.
It was very very forceful. It was weird. And I was just like.
So there was a conversation between Michelle and Lacey this season. And basically Michelle said, I always wanted affection from Jesse. Like, we weren't always like this. At one point, Jesse and I were very much in love. And I craved the attention from him and the affection, and he just wouldn't give it to me. So it's difficult for me to see him giving that to you. So that stuck in my head when I saw Lacey pull that move. Because she knows how that affects Michelle. And then once they start talking, we see how adversarial Michelle and Lacey are being with each other.
Very. Yes.
Yeah.
But now, what about the whole thing with Michelle saying that she didn't send these texts when everybody saw these texts? Like, what was that?
I feel like Michelle it's just so funny. Michelle is doing what they're all accusing Nia of doing, and basically trying to protect her image. I think Michelle can pop off, especially when it comes to Jesse. I think that she can go fucking crazy because we hear.
Yeah, because I can see that, like I said, that look in her eye.
Yes.
It's like the crazy eye.
Yes, but she wants to hide it because Andy brings up the argument between Michelle and Lacey at the finale last year. And Michelle says she was sitting in the bar with Brittany and Sheena, and Lacey went up to her. She wanted to have a conversation. Michelle said she didn't want to. Lacey wouldn't back off. She wasn't respecting her personal space. Jasmine, your friend, recorded it, and Michelle was screaming and yelling. And Lacey says, why did you tell Jasmine to delete the video? And she said, because I was yelling. Like, she doesn't want people to know when she's being
Pop
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It just drives me crazy because Brittany said on Watch What Happens Live, like, Andy's like, what's your problem with Nia? And she's like, I really don't have a problem with Nia. We are friends. I love Nia. But it's not fair to go on a reality TV show where I'm showing every aspect of my life, the good, the bad, everything. And they're trying to hide things. Well, here you go. Like, right. So is Michelle. And Brittany, you're Michelle's friend, so you damn well know that. Meanwhile, Janet and Jason show nothing about their real lives. We barely saw Jason this season because he got hurt. We never see their kid, which that's fine. If they choose to not put their kid on the show, I get that.
Right.
But you show nothing of your real lives. All you do is go around and poke at other people.
Yeah.
We didn't see any part of Lala's real life this season. Like,
right.
It's like they're hypocrites. So anyway,
And did you catch Jesse giving Michelle the finger?
No, did he?
He went to rub the corner of his eye, and
I
they were in
did
the
see
middle
that.
of the argument, and I was like, "Look at you, look at you."
I did see that now that you say
He
that.
definitely gave her the finger.
Yes.
There's not a doubt in my mind.
So then they start talking about, Michelle basically says that Lacey called her, I guess the day after the finale, and was basically like, this is how our relationship is going to go. And Lacey's denying this. She's like, no, I didn't. And, the whole back and forth. So Michelle's basically saying Lacey called her and yelled at her. Lacey's saying, I never yelled. I was being assertive. And then they bring up the whole cease and desist. And Michelle says that Lacey said to her, if you don't do what I say, I will sue you and I will win because I have all the money in the world.
I can see her saying that.
I could kind of see her saying that.
I could see her saying that. Absolutely.
I like Lacey, but I could totally
see her saying that.
In the heat of the moment, see her saying that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Michelle does. Andy says, do you still see Lacey as unstable and chaotic? And Michelle says, yes. And Lacey says, you are projecting because you hate your ex-husband and you're mad at your life. Listen, I don't think Michelle's mad at her life. I think that Michelle is glad to not be with Jesse anymore. And maybe the only thing she's mad about is that she still has to fucking deal with this guy because she has a kid with him and she's going to be dealing with him. Basically, for the rest of her life, she's going to be dealing with him because it doesn't end when they turn 18.
She's got to be on a show with him.
She's got to be on a show with him.
Imagine being on a show with your ex and then you have to deal with his new girl.
No, trust me.
Yeah. But I think that the girlfriend has the ability to remain very calm. And I think that makes Michelle even more crazy.
Right. On camera, Lacey can stay very composed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows how she is off camera, but I think that aspect of her like drives Michelle insane. So I think in some ways, maybe she does project a little bit, but I think it has something to do with that too.
Right. But Lacey basically does say to Michelle, and she's not wrong, like, just because Jesse was mistreating you at the time we started dating doesn't mean you should be mean to me. And she says that she's only sent one cease and desist in her life to Michelle. So Andy's like, we were all under the impression that you were getting along. And Lacey says everything is a projection and I have never yelled at her. And Lacey said Michelle was screaming in the middle of the street. So this was something else that happened. Lacey said Michelle was screaming in the middle of the street because Lacey had brought a basket for Isabella.
For Valentine's Day or something, right?
Yeah, and Lacey says Michelle sent her a text message that says, I'm going to ruin your life. And Michelle denies sending the text message. And Zach's like, I saw it.
Yeah.
And like Jasmine was nodding her head. Nia was nodding her head. Like people saw this text message.
What are you doing, Michelle? Like, what are you doing?
Right. So I think that she's just trying to hide part of her persona, Michelle. And, you're on reality TV.
Right.
She just tries to play it off like she's this calm, classy, reasonable person.
Right.
So then Lacey said that she called Michelle at one point and said, please let me know whatever you need, like when she and Jesse started dating. And Michelle called her back and said, Jesse's an alcoholic and spent all our money. He definitely spent all her money. I don't know about the alcoholic thing. And then Michelle said she decided to never speak to Lacey again because they disagree on how Lacey treated her. But judging from the video, it seemed like Michelle was the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Lacey said that misogyny is deep in them. And I believe she's talking about Michelle, Janet, and Lala. And she said, good luck with that. I mean, listen, I agree. I think that those three are man haters. I really do. Even though Janet's married, I think Michelle's all fucked up from what happened to her with Jesse. I think Lala is all effed up from what happened with her and Randall. And Janet is just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Zach said that he and Kristen told Jesse to lay off of Michelle as being like by saying she's being performative.
Performative, yeah.
Yeah. And then they go into how Zach and Jesse are good friends now and FaceTime each other all the time. And Zach's like, it's like borderline stalker, which is so pretty funny because it's an unlikely duo.
Yes, a very unlikely duo.
Yeah. And Jesse says, I've known Michelle for 12 years. And she says, you don't even know what kind of music I like. And Andy's like, Dr. Dre. And then Jesse says that performative isn't the right word for Michelle. He thinks she's fake and being coached by Lala. And then he says Lala made a comment. She was trying to teach Michelle how to hate people or something. And Michelle's like, you're ridiculous. I mean, Lala's, she's gonna, she is a seasoned reality TV personality. So maybe she was saying certain things to Michelle to help her. That's just being a friend. That's
right.
So Jasmine gets called out by a viewer for talking smack about her friends in her confessionals and not saying things to her faces. And she's like, listen, I get shut down all the time when I try to talk in this group.
Is this true?
It's not wrong. She's not wrong. I
wanted to ask you that.
actually agree with Jasmine on this because Jasmine and Zach are kind of background players on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think she could say more to their faces than she does. I think she is being shady a lot in her confessionals. But like, see right here, she's not going to deny doing it. She's not going to back down. She's going to, say why she did it. So she did. Andy brings up Kristen and Janet being mortal enemies. He says that Kristen said at BravoCon that Janet and Jason will be the next Bravo couple to get divorced. I don't like this question. This question comes up at BravoCon a lot.
It's not a good question at all.
Let's just stop asking this question because it's just not a nice question.
No, and then they feel like you got to come up with an answer. Right.
We should never be championing for a couple to break up. Like, as much as I dislike Janet, I don't want to see her and Jason not make it. Like,
right. Absolutely not. Yeah.
I don't know. You're messing with people's marriages and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And Kristen's like, listen, I just wanted to give an answer and I was pissed at them. I was pissed at Janet. And this is what I loathe about Janet. Janet says, honestly, I was happy about it because typically the couples that Kristen supports don't wind up together. She's just insufferable. And Kristen, everyone's like, huh? Kristen's like, I don't support couples. I support my friends and whatever makes them happy. And listen, Kristen's like, you've been holding on to that one.
Kristen just doesn't like her. And that's okay. You don't have to like everybody, even the people you work with. You don't have to explain or, give the example. You don't have to give examples of why you don't like. I just don't like you. I've tried. You're not my jam. I don't. You're not my tribe
anymore. It's just not
I don't
working
take
anymore.
you. I don't take you. Like, it doesn't matter what you do.
Friends. They're not anymore.
Right. And that's just it.
That's it. We're getting close to an hour. We got to wrap this up.
Wrap it up. Wrap.
Andy asked Zach what action he was looking for from Janet. And he said he wanted to see like behavioral change over time instead of some like over the top performative thing where she's like giving you a gift, or he says she has manipulative tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Janet says, you invited me to your housewarming party and I couldn't go, so I sent you a gift. But Zach was nodding his head like there was something more to that. They didn't go into it.
Right.
This was a valid question. Andy asks Kristen why she's so hard on Janet after she's had to work her way back after backlash for the things she did. So on Vanderpump Rules, Kristen's friends pretty much all turned on her. Kristen had very poor behavior on VPR. I mean, Jax was dating Stassi at the time. Kristen was dating Tom Sandoval. Tom and Jax were best friends. Kristen and Stassi were good friends. Kristen slept with Jax twice. Her behavior has been very questionable over the years. However, she has done a 180.
Mm-hmm.
She has worked on herself. And she says she wants to see evolution. And she worked really hard after Vanderpump Rules. She went to therapy. And then little by little, her friends started coming back into her life. She wasn't forcing it on anybody. They saw that she made a change. They saw that she evolved. They came back to repair the friendship with her. Whereas I believe she didn't say it. So Lala says nobody gives Janet a chance. And Kristen's like, I've been waiting all summer and I've seen nothing. This is the problem. Lala, Michelle, Brittany, they're all trying to force Janet down Zach, Kristen, and well, not really Nia and Danny, but Zach and Kristen's throats because they were all good friends at one point. But if they see how Janet's moving and they don't like it, it's their right to not be friends with her.
Absolutely.
Jason said going into season 3, certain people wanted to earn brownie points with the viewers. So here we go again. They are refusing to make up with Janet because they want to appease the viewers. I don't think that's it at all.
I haven't watched, like I said, what have I watched? 3, 4 episodes? I can tell right away that is not how Zach is.
And it's
He
not
can-
how Kristen is either, because
Yeah.
viewers have hated Kristen over the years. And I just can't see her really giving an F. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And even Lacey said, I disagree with that. I think Zach really loves Janet deep down. He doesn't care about what the viewers say. I don't think either one of them do. So Janet then brings up, so Lacey earlier in the season brought up the fact that Janet was doing investigating on her, like looking up her HOA fees, how much she pays, saying that she tried to become a Real Housewife of the OC 17 times. So Janet brings up the fact that a lot of this was done by Sheena, which Sheena was from Vanderpump Rules. She's not on this show. But I do believe that that's probably true. But I think that Janet was right there with her. Andy asks who the Baywatch guy is that Lacey dated. And Lacey says she has a cease and desist and can't answer. And they were like, really? She's like, no, I'm just kidding. So Andy's like, but David Hasselhoff did block you. And she was like, yeah, and his wife, which is really embarrassing. Andy says that Lala said she doesn't understand where Kristen's disdain for Janet comes from. And Kristen says it's been a few things, and especially how she treats Zach. So Janet's like, I'd love to know what I've done to Zach. And he says, you always have to have the last dig and you can't let things go. And Lala's like, but that's you too, Zach. So Andy asks, what's not resolved? And Zach says, if we can keep the past in the past, then I would love to move forward. So Andy asks them to shake hands and then they get up and hug. Did you see Danny? And he was like, what's happening when Zach got up to hug? Yeah.
Mhm.
And Nia's like, well, reunions are for getting people in a better place. And, maybe there's a chance for us depending how things are approached. Andy says Brittany was frustrated with Zach at Chili's. And how is your relationship now? And Brittany says she loves Zach. He's like her brother. And, all of a sudden out of nowhere, he started yelling at her and screaming at her. And he really hurt her feelings. And Zach says, no matter what, Brittany and Zach are always going to be okay. She's never not going to be his sister. But he said he used to walk on eggshells and let a lot of things hurt him during her relationship with Jack. He speaks up more now and he defends himself because he feels more comfortable doing so. And it comes off different for their relationship, for their friendship.
Yeah,
So
because
Brittany
your friendship is going to evolve. It's not going to always be how it was in the beginning, and
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's a shame
anymore.
if he felt like he was walking on eggshells. I'm assuming that anyone who comes around Jax is walking on eggshells.
Yeah,
because to me, he seems like a tea kettle, always ready to boil
Yep.
over.
Absolutely.
So Brittany now feels like she's the one that's never allowed to say anything, and Zach just says everyone can have an opinion. It's just a different vibe in our friendship now that I'm speaking my mind more. So then Andy brings up the guilt tripping comment and he says to Kristen, we all saw you say it on camera. And Kristen was like, I know that I said it and I don't know why I didn't admit it. And Brittany says at the moment, Zach believed Kristen and all of a sudden she was a liar and that made her feel really bad. And she says the finger has been pointed at her a lot, even when she hasn't done anything wrong. And then Zach says, you haven't had my back. And she says, honey, I've had your back through and through. And Brittany says, we have had a conversation about that and we moved past it. And then all of a sudden, Andy's like, okay, we're going to break for lunch. And you could tell Brittany was like, but wait a minute, like we're actually getting somewhere here.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see next week when they pick up.
Yeah, how that
I'm
conversation
assuming they're going to
continues.
go right back into this. I hope so.
Right.
So it was like, I'm a decent note taker when I watch these shows, but I felt like there was a lot in this episode.
Yeah, there was.
And none of it had to do with Danny and Nia. So I was actually pleasantly surprised. Exactly.
Yeah. So we shall see.
We shall see. So that's it. That was the first episode. Sorry it's so long, but I really felt like there was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah. So thank you for watching and listening.
Yes.
Please go to YouTube and subscribe and all of our socials and like and give us a 5-star review if you don't mind. And we appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Bye.
All right. Bye.